Hello everyone, this is Miss Mary and welcome to the second episode of Storytelling. In this video we will learn about narrative point of view and plot. In the last video we talked about the elements of a story, including setting, characters, problem, and solution. This brings us to narrative point of view or narrative perspective. Before we begin writing, we need to decide who is telling the story, known as the narrator, and where they're coming from. There are 3 different categories of narrative. In first person, the story is told from the main character's point of view. It is narrated using I, me, my, us, and we pronouns. The reader is told everything the narrator thinks, experiences, and feels. In second person, the author brings the reader into the story by using the pronoun you. This isn't a common method, but can be seen in choose-your-own-adventure stories, self-improvement books, magazine articles, and role-playing games. Next is, you guessed it, third person. In third person, the narrator is not a character in the story and only uses pronouns like he, she, they, and it. Now, there are 3 different types of third-person narration. A limited narrator tells the story plus the actions and thoughts of only one character. An objective narrator only says what is said and done. And finally, an omniscient narrator is all-knowing. The reader is given information about what all of the characters think, feel, and do. When you've chosen a narrative point of view for your story, you can begin building your plot. The plot is a sequence of events that happens in the story. It usually occurs in order, having a beginning, a middle, and an end. Plot elements. Every story has a simple plot structure at its foundation. It starts with the exposition, moves on to the rising action, reaches a climax, followed by falling action, and a resolution. Let's take a ride and find out all about them. First stop is exposition. The exposition is the introduction of the story. The author will introduce the reader to the characters and setting, provide relevant background knowledge, and reveal the inciting incident or hook that grabs the reader's attention. Then begins the rising action. This is when the characters begin their journey. These events generally teach them more about the problem and the ways they can go about solving it. Then we reach what we've all been waiting for, the climax. The climax is the most exciting point in the story. The characters will be forced to confront the problem at its most intense. This is usually a turning point in the story. After the climax is the falling action. These are the events leading up to the characters solving the problem or dealing with its consequences. Finally, we reach the resolution. The resolution occurs at the end of the story. This is where the author provides a solution or conclusion to the problem, explains the lessons the characters learned, and ties up any loose ends. A twist or turn to set up for a sequel may also be included. And that's it. Thanks for sharing your time and energy with me. Let me know how your stories are coming along. I'll see you next time on Storytelling. Keep those minds and bodies growing.